Well, hello, everybody. I am excited to host the Care2Grow Show podcast, where we focus on putting the care back in healthcare. What I noticed a long time ago was that there is a compassion crisis in healthcare. And I want to start to have a conversation where we can put the care back in healthcare in America. And on the Care2Grow Show podcast, we start interviewing healthcare providers and leaders who care at a very high level. And with us today is a dear friend and colleague. We've known each other for nearly 20 years. He was one of the very first people I thought of when I put together my list of doctors that I want to interview. And you can see by the word behind him, serve, there's no better person to talk to about caring for patients and caring for humans than Dr. Justin Brown. Dr. Brown is the owner of Friends and Family Spinal Care down in Florida. He has built one of the most well-respected and largest upper cervical practices in the country. And more recently, he has put together the Serve Bigger Collective, where through mergers, acquisitions, education, he's building a cohort of upper cervical practices to make an even bigger impact on the health of our country. And he is a leader in our profession and a dear friend of mine. And Dr. Brown, I am so happy to have you here. Welcome to our very first Care to Grow Show podcast. And I'm sure you're going to be on many more.
It's an absolute honor to join you, Dr. Arbeitman. I have had massive amounts of respect and admiration for who you are as a doctor, who you are as a person, a man full of character, an incredible husband, incredible dad. So this is fun. I'm excited. Buckle up. If you're listening, guys, like you're gonna want to take notes. You're gonna want to like download this thing. You're gonna want to like subscribe to this thing because Dr. Larry is one of the chiropractic communicator champions. And I've told him this for years. I said, if there's anybody that needs to be teaching our profession on how to communicate chiropractic, it's you. So the only reason I'm mad at him is he should have been doing this 5 to 10 years ago. So sometimes it takes a little time to kind of get through our skull, but he's finally doing it. He's going to bless everybody that gets to subscribe to this podcast because his communication is absolutely world class. I don't know of any other people that communicate chiropractic and upper cervical chiropractic as well as Dr. Larry. So you are in for a treat.
Well, you are super complimentary, and we've had so many conversations. God, if they were recorded, they would have made great material. So I think this is the first time you and I are actually recording a conversation together. So for those people who don't know who you are, talk to us a little bit about how you ended up in as a healthcare provider, more specifically an upper cervical chiropractor.
Yeah, so it's typically, if you look at the origin story of businesses or even people that kind of find their passion, it usually goes back to solving a problem. And I had a big problem. At 13 years old, I was out on a run and I collapsed. And I ended up dragging my body back to my home and was thrown in the bath and brought to the ER. And I couldn't even stand up straight. And I was given the cocktail of the pain pills and muscle relaxers at the ER that wore off after a week, right? And so here I was still having difficulty getting out of bed, and my parents had no idea what to do. An old conversation with a family friend came up, said, "Why don't you try a chiropractor?" My parents had no idea what that was. They took me to the chiropractor. I had no idea what that was and took me to this office. And ultimately, the chiropractor took x-rays of my spine and found I had compression fractures through the middle part of my spine. It was this disease called Sherman's disease,
Mm.
which often inflicts people that do extreme, it sounds like me, right? Extreme sports at a young age. So, I mean, what could go wrong? I was, back squatting 200 pounds at 13 years old in my basement with having no structure or coaching or form. So needless to say, I destroyed my spine at an early age. Well, the chiropractor told me this. He actually analyzed that, started adjusting me, got me back on the soccer field. And so I thought, this is the coolest thing in the world. The drugs didn't work. he put his hands on me. He actually adjusted my spine, and I was able to recover and get back to doing the thing I wanted to do, which was playing soccer. So that planted a seed very early on that this is probably a good avenue for you to be able to investigate. And so ultimately went through school, really excelled in sciences, really excelled in um, understanding about the body, and just loved sports, athletics, anything around human performance. I was all in. So I was really geeking out on all of those things at a very early age. And so when I kind of understood, as I did more research, I understood the philosophy of chiropractic about the fact this body is self-healing, self-regulating, and that the power through the nervous system is what keeps all these organs functioning properly. And if you get an adjustment and restore that balance, that connection, the body can express health naturally. Once I understood that philosophy and I had my experience, I was like, okay, yeah, I mean, this is obviously a clear message that this is supposed to be my purpose and passion in life.
That so many people become a chiropractor because it saved their life and it changed their life, and you're yet another example of that. And after studying with and working as an associate with a doctor in Seattle, you decide to move to Florida to open your practice. And the name of your practice in Florida is?
Yeah, Forensic Family Spinal Care is one of our practices in
Mhm.
Florida. We also have Keystone Chiropractic and Neuroplasticity down here in South Florida. And we do have a third practice in Texas, which is called the Blair Chiropractic Clinic, which has been around for 75 years.
So that's incredible. So this is the beginning of your collective where you're going to be expanding your footprint and the impact that you're having. But I also want to go back to that your original clinic, the Friends and Family Spinal Care. And you were very intentional when choosing that name. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, I love how, with even the purpose of this pod is really about bringing the care back to health care. And I think that what I was seeing, even as I was early on in my career, was that chiropractors were really all about the conditions they were treating or the technique that they were doing, as opposed to why are we doing this? This is about the person, right? This is about people. This is about people's problems. And if we can focus on people's problems, then we're going to be able to fulfill our purpose, be very fulfilled in doing what we love doing, which is taking care of people and helping people. But obviously, you can build a very strong business doing that.
Mm,
And that profits are a byproduct of serving people. And so ultimately, yeah, it's really about care. Compassion is a core value of our organization. You have to care about people. You have to authentically have this genuine, innate interest in helping people overcome whatever their situation is, or everywhere from people are literally like the patient I spoke to this week who says, God take me.
mm,
That's how desperate she literally is, right?
mm,
God take me, all the way to, hey, I just want to be my best, and I want the best for my children, and I want to have this advantage at life so that my body is as resilient as it can possibly be to take on the stresses that we deal with every day. So within that continuum, we get to meet people where they're at. We get to listen to people and understand their situation and see how we can serve them. So it's not about our technique. It's not about how good we are. It's not about our technology. It's not about the conditions that, like, these very condition-based people. And so I'm not saying there's one right way to do it, but for us, there's a reason why we call it friends and family spinal care. I mean,
right.
it's very intentional that it's really about the people we're taking care of. And by putting the patient at the forefront of everything that we do, it just keeps the focus on the thing that matters most, which is the person, the patient, the disruption that's happening in their life, the interference to people being able to live life on their terms, to whether it's playing pickleball or picking up a grandchild or just getting a good night's sleep. I have to share this with my doctors all the time. We can take that for granted for
Mm,
healthy people. We've been living this lifestyle like you mentioned, like 20 years. I've been under this type of care for 3/4 of my life.
Yeah.
So we lose touch as providers with what it means to suffer.
Mm.
And so we've lost complete touch with what it means to not feel well for 6 months, 3 years. I mean, I have no recollection of that because we
Mm.
experience and receive this care ourselves, which is
Sure.
also kind of what makes us unique. Dr. Arbeitman, like we actually live this, we experience this care all the time. We
We
actually
get the care
yeah,
that we provide,
we
right?
get the care that we provide. We actually do not miss our schedule of care because we know how valuable it is to our life. And by the way, have I missed at times? Yes, I have. And you know what? I pay the price.
Pay the price. Yeah. Sure.
You miss,
Sure.
so it's it really positions us uniquely. But kind of getting back to your question, yeah, I mean it's very important that as providers that we keep the patient as the priority. I mean, the moment that we take our focus off of taking care of people and genuinely giving them our very best each time we have the opportunity to see them, is the moment that things will start to fall apart. We can easily get distracted, right? There's no shortage of distractions when it comes to being in practice, when it comes to being an owner, when it comes to be even as an employee, when it comes to just the chaos and the noise that's in society currently. Like it's vital that we keep the patient at the forefront.
100%. 100%. So we talk about compassion. It's interesting because empathy is feeling the other person's feeling. So when that patient of yours said, God, take me, and in that moment, you feel what she's feeling, even though you're not in her shoes. That's
Right.
an empathetic doctor, which you are. Compassion is actually a doing or an action. So you feel it and then you do something about it. Maybe it's calling her at home. Maybe it's scheduling an extra visit. Maybe it's just making eye contact and connecting with her. You train a lot of new doctors out of school. They come out of school very willing and ready to serve. They're very intellectual. They know their diagnosis codes, they know their technique. How do you train a new doctor or raise their level of awareness to become a compassionate servant?
I think a lot of it is leading by example. So when you're in a culture, right? Care culture,
Boom.
when you're in a culture where there's a demonstration of the value, like so values sometimes get a bad rap because they're like, oh yeah, values, nobody cares, you
Like
put
it's a soft skill. Like that's not going to move the needle, right? But it's everything.
it's everything. So essentially, our values are something we talk about every single week. Like
Mm,
it's literally it's embedded inside of the psychology, the communication, everything we do and discuss, and even how we measure performance. So, with that said, we demonstrate. So we definitely demonstrate, and I'm a pretty extreme guy. So I'll be up in your face if I don't see compassion being demonstrated, right? If people start, like for example, in a consultation, if people start checking boxes and they're
mm,
asking questions but they're not listening,
mm.
that's an immediate red flag. Like, did you hear what the lady just said? God take me. Did you hear that?
Did you
Right.
feel
So
it?
did you feel it? Right. Did you feel that? So it's just something that's demonstrated. I think like we really try to filter out if someone just doesn't genuinely care about people, they typically won't end up in our organization.
Mm,
So, that's unfortunately there's certain people that would just be, better in finance than they would be in healthcare, right? And so if that's the case, then it's probably just not a cultural fit. So we really hire on values. So
hmm
a lot of times to answer your question, it's they're not typically going to make it through those first set of filters and into our
hmm
organization if they're just not truly someone who authentically cares about people. But let's say they get in, how do we do it? We demonstrate, we train their skills. We have this, and that's part of the beauty of what's happening with Serve Bigger Collective is that we have this mastermind, we have this collective, and so most of that training doesn't necessarily come from me alone. I mean, I train our directors, and our directors kind of filter down the culture And so, but it's definitely standard, right? There's a standard around it, and it is something that we train and we monitor, and we test and we retest. And so, what I would say is it's omnipresent. It's through the culture. It's not so much of like this is how you show someone you care. It's more of they see it so omnipotent throughout the organization that it just rubs off on them is kind of the way I would say it best. It's like, and it's obvious if it's not being demonstrated because it like sticks out like a sore thumb,
Sure.
and,
Yeah.
and so it's like we either elevate or we exit. And so that's kind of the culture really is that like, you really have to care. And we say it's like we say we do what's right to gift and lift others in need. So we'll do the
Mm,
extra. If that person needs a little extra love, we're going to give it to them.
love
Whatever
that.
that means, whether that's send them flowers, whether that means give them an extra phone call, whether it means send the text. It's a personal relationship we have with these people, and relationship is another core value. So it's like I'm just the way I'm talking, it's like all of our stuff is just flows out of us. So we really build these lasting, long, meaningful relationships with our people. And so they know the level of care, right? The level of care that they're going to receive in our organization is unparalleled.
Yes.
It's unparalleled. So they can't we're irreplaceable, right? Because
Yes.
you're not going to
You're
find
not a commodity. They can't go down the street and get it, right?
you can't compare us
Right.
to what's going on, whatever. Like that's why people would drive past, 150 offices to get to your office because of your care
100%.
culture, right? They feel the love. When they walk in our office, it feels like a hug.
Love that.
It feels like a hug. Like it's like they go, they breathe. They breathe. They
So,
actually
so the
they
key the
connect.
key the key point here, Dr. Brown, is it's not something you do, it's
Right.
something you be.
Yes.
It's the who your team and your organizations are because you've
Yes.
embedded it in your culture and your values. It's not like, oh, now I have to care about the patient. Now I have to love the patient. It's who you are. And so many doctors who are struggling in practice want to know, like, how do I get more new patients? How do I keep my patients? Well, what's the strategy? What do I say? And like
What's
we're
the one
giving them the
thing?
secret sauce, right? Like
Dr.
right
Larry,
now.
what's the one thing? What's the one thing I need to do?
What's the one thing? This is it. Just start loving the people because unfortunately, what is the current state of affairs in the healthcare system? What do you currently hear about how patients are receiving care in healthcare in America right now? I know you hear the stories, I hear the stories. So it is, doctors think their technique is their differentiating factor, the unique selling proposition. And it could be, but it's really the way you make them feel and the way that you care for the patients. So it is not a soft skill. And there is an abundance of research that it does a few things, compassion. It will actually impact the patient outcome. Do you believe that it'll actually impact their ability to heal themselves if they're loved
Oh,
on?
100%.
100%. It will increase revenue. Why? Why would it? Because people are going to stay. They're going to refer. You're going to need less marketing. Your retention is going to go up. What about doctor burnout? A lot of people think that when doctors feel burnt out, that they should like take a break, go take a vacation, go escape, go on a walk, go do yoga. The truth is, it's opposite. You actually need to lean into care and into service with others. And then teams. You are a master at building teams. So I want you to talk a little bit about how you feel the culture keeps a team together and fulfilled. The the
Yeah,
the, the
culture is
loving
vital
service
on
culture.
team building. I mean, essentially, a team needs to know where they're going, right? And so my job as a CEO and a leader of leaders is to cast that vision and for people to be on board, for people to align with that, to understand their contribution inside of that vision, to feel their work is meaningful and purposeful and that it's aligned to their skills and that they are doing something that they say, this is a good use of my time
Mm,
and my skills and the unique gifts that God has given me. And if you can align people in that framework and then give them this super compelling vision that they're doing something that's literally going to be changing the landscape of healthcare, which is
mm,
right. I mean, you mentioned it's just so ripe to be disrupted. And so, yeah, for us, for teams, it's really like it kind of comes back to patience. It's like understanding who these people are. We understand what matters to them. We have a relationship with them. We care about them,
mm,
nurture them. We challenge them, and we want to make sure like everybody's learning, everybody's in progress, everybody's up leveling skill sets.
mm,
We're resourcing them, we're giving them the most amazing training, we're giving them not only just something that drives the forward our vision in our business, but drives them forward in their life.
mm.
So we have to align all of these things.
Yep.
And if we can, get all of those pieces aligned, people will do whatever it takes to move forward in the vision and execute on targets, and they'll go way out of their way, and they'll do the extraordinary when they know that, one, that they believe in the vision, so they have to have belief, right? So they have to understand it. It's got to be simple, right? So doctors have to simplify things for patients and for our team members. So make it a simple vision that they can get behind. Easy. One. Two is know who they are. Know your people. You've got to know your people. What matters to them. So again, when a patient comes in and they talk to me about their migraines, that's fine. The migraine matters to me clinically,
Mm,
but why does the migraine matter to that patient? If I understand why the migraine, see, most people stop right there. Oh, you have migraines. How long? Got it. Okay. How bad? 10. Got it. All right, next. But they're not talking about why does the
mm.
migraine matter?
Sure. Core
So if I can
value.
understand what matters to my, okay, time with kids. All right, talk to me about that. What do you like to do with your kids? Blah, da, da, da. Got it. So you love baseball, you love traveling. Cool. You're going to go to the Baseball Hall of Fame. Amazing. What if I were to create a target where I could take your family to the Baseball Hall of Fame when we do this? Oh my, like mind blowing, right? So it's really just understanding your people and then aligning our vision, our targets, our KPIs to specifically what matters to them. And then you're going to create such a deep relationship with that person. You're doing life with these people. We're going to
Mm,
spend more time with a lot of the team members than we do with our wives and our children or our
sure.
spouses. So
Definitely.
it's like you're spending so much time, which is our most valuable resource. So the least we can do as leaders is understand our people, understand what matters to our people,
Hmm.
and then put them in a position of success. Right. So relative to building teams, I just laugh when I hear people complain about their staff and I go, well,
Ah,
interesting. Who hired them? Oh,
yeah.
who, who trained them or didn't train
Or
them?
didn't train them.
Yeah. So how well do they know your values? What are values? Well,
Mm,
so like when's the last time you actually up leveled their skill sets? What do you
mm.
mean? So do you follow? So it's like there's so much to being a leader for people, and that's a whole nother job, right? So it's like when you can be aligned with people and know your people and communicate, right? Going back to communication, like have systems of communication because it's easy to just let time go by and then all of a sudden you're like, ooh, haven't checked in with that person in a while.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you like wonder why the performance is bad, the things are slipping through the cracks, there's all these mistakes that are popping up. It's because you're out of touch.
Yeah.
So as leaders, when we're out of touch, that's when chaos ensues. So we really want to have a high level of communication. We want to have great managers in place. We want to have great systems in place, and really, it all kind of flows back through that filter of culture, and making sure that we have this vision. We have these systems that are aligned to get us to that vision, and then that we have the right people in place in the right roles in the right seats with the right training in order to be able to execute on that vision.
That's beautifully said. We can't just care for the patients and not care for our people that work because the when our people, our teams are cared for and they feel the same level of compassion that we give to our patients, they're then going to serve the patients at their best ability. And our patients see our teams more than they see us. They talk to the team on the phone, they see the team when they come in the office, they see the team on the way out of the office. So you have to treat your team the way you want them to treat your patients. And the truth is, we're all humans. And so what happens is we create these separations where I'm the doctor, that's the patient, I'm the doctor, that's the front desk staff. And the truth is, we're all humans, we're all brothers, we're all sisters, we're all fathers, we're all mothers, we're all daughters, and we're all sons. And we're really all trading on the same level. Yes, we have an organizational chart, but when we start seeing everybody as humans, that starts to permeate throughout the entire culture of the organization. So you are a master at leadership and leading leaders. I love that. Talk to me about what you're working on right now and what excites you, what you want to bring to the world. I know you are always hard charging forward and you've got massive vision, and I want to hear about it.
Yeah, I mean, Larry, you mentioned kind of the status of healthcare. I mean, it's so bad. I mean, but going back, even 20 years ago, graduating from school, I mean, I was very intent on changing the world through chiropractic. And I've heard so many students say that, and then it's like practice has beat that vision out of people over years.
Mm,
And so essentially, over a course of time, I learned a lot, throughout. And the reason why I can speak so confidently about what we do for people is because I did it wrong for a long time. So there's just been a
mm,
lot of lessons. There's been a lot of kind of failures throughout the time of building this that you learn so much of what works and what doesn't work. But ultimately, yeah, we have such an amazing product. Our product is so good, and there's so many people kind of going back to the problem. There's so many people that continue to suffer needlessly because they don't know about our product and they don't know about how this works, why it works. It's 2025, and there's still 90% of the population, at least, that has no idea what it means when we say upper cervical chiropractic. No idea.
that's
And that's a
crazy, right?
problem. I
That's
mean, and,
crazy.
and nobody's going to come save us and change that.
That's
There's
right.
nobody flying in to save the day.
Hmm.
So we have to get organized as a profession, as an industry, as a specialty within our industry. And we have to professionalize, and we have to get the right people, right? It's a people first organization.
Yeah.
We have to get the right leaders involved that want to be a part of this vision to actually make that change happen. And we have to come together and align around these systems and around this vision, and ultimately change the landscape of healthcare, of chiropractic. We want to up level. Like, we do have a preeminent service. We are a preeminent brand. We are the top of the top. Like, I wouldn't say like we're going around saying that we're the Ritz, but we're the Four Seasons. We
Hmm.
are the Four Seasons, and it is very, very high level care that we give people. It is very high touch. It's very high relation. It's very high communication. And so it is unparalleled service. And we want to up level the chiropractic profession so that people know this is available. Like, this is what this is for people. And that's what we're putting together. And it really matters because the quality of healthcare is so poor. It's
Mm,
really about the dollars and the insurance and
mm,
big conglomerates, and it's not about people. And that's a
mm,
problem. So we're solving a couple problems. We're also creating an opportunity for upper cervical docs that, they're doing well, they're doing awesome, but they're alone. They're on an island. They hire a coach, but the coach also hire, they're coaching 100 other people, or they lump you into a group and say, I don't know, hopefully something will help you, and maybe not. It's not specialized, it's not specific. We always say chiropractic is specific or nothing, and we
mm,
believe that, but we
mm,
believe that around how we're doing what we're doing inside of Surveyor Collective. So essentially, we have this mastermind of incredible chiropractors. We have a we have a team. We're able to create our own events. We're able to have our own mastermind calls. We have a C-suite of people that are come together that Literally, they're financial experts. Not these aren't chiropractors. These aren't even people necessarily in healthcare, but they're
Hmm.
constantly working on all of our organizations. They're working
Hmm.
on the entities. So we're leveraging people that are much smarter than we are as healthcare providers. I mean, this is what they do full time,
Hmm.
right? And we're leveraging people that are great in finance, people that are great in marketing, people that have a lot more business know-how when it comes to building value. And so that's who we're teaming up with. And so it creates this unfair advantage.
Mm.
It's just a completely unfair advantage. We have a team of people working on all of these different local entities at all times, and a C-suite, and me, and you know my expertise, which is really in building highly successful upper cervical chiropractic practices and maximizing the performance of high level chiropractors. This is what I love doing. This is my unique gift to the world. And so this is my full intention. This is my full focus. This is like the thing that, is peeling me out of bed every morning and keeping me up at night. Because it's like once you get that, once you kind of lock in on the one thing that like you really know you're fully aligned to, it's super exciting, it's energizing, and it's just a beautiful place to know you're doing what what God's called you to do. So that's where we're at, and people are really responding. People are responding. We're getting a lot of interest from around the country, even some international. But we're really focusing right now on some particular regions through our mergers and our partnerships of these practices, and so it's exciting. But yeah, we will have 35 practices within the next 5 years.
Love
And
that.
we've got a strategy, we've got a plan, and now it's just a matter of executing.
Right. You are built for this. You are the person that is going to execute this. I've known you for 20 years, and I am so grateful that you are taking this very worthwhile venture on because we do need to raise the public's perception of chiropractic and awareness of upper cervical care. And there is strength in numbers and collaboration. And, I am behind you in this venture 100%. You know that. And what would you say to a provider who is either just kind of, going at it alone now for 10, 15, 20 years, not really sure what their next step is, how they're going to exit, or and I guess a part B is the other side of that is new doctor coming out of school, like where should they go? They want to practice upper cervical care. Should they start on their own? So you got two ends of the spectrum. You got the doctor who's been successful in doing it and just doesn't know what the end game is, and then a doctor who's about to step out into the marketplace in 2026. What do you say to those two doctors?
Yeah, I mean, and this model is really for both of those. So I'm so glad that you'd asked about that. But the doc who's been out 15, 20, maybe 25, even 30 years, the sad truth is that there's not a great exit strategy. The exit strategy of most chiropractors that have been demonstrated is practice till your body fails, or you die, or you shut the doors. And if you're lucky, maybe you can sell it for 25% of its true value, which all of those scenarios are not really strategic or beneficial to that doctor for the service that they provided to that community over all those years. So it's been a problem, and it's really hasn't been talked about. This is a problem that people are just going to put their head in the sand and go, I don't know, I'll figure it out later. Or, oh no, I'm going to practice till I die, or um, practice till their body fails. And so it is a real issue. So what I would say is that we actually have a real plan for you. We have a pathway where you can actually receive significantly more value for your practice, for the service you provided to your community for all these years. And it's not like that you'd actually just get market value. We have this unique model that actually can give you 2x, 3x, who knows, possibly more, for this beautiful practice that you have, not to mention give you the ability to actually unwind that over time and have this beautiful pathway and this exit that helps you to solidify your business in the short term. so that most people don't realize that their business and their practice and their source of income for their family is super unstable.
Mm.
And they don't recognize it, they don't address it, they don't realize that if something happens to them, that literally the source of income gets unplugged. It's
Mm.
unplugged, it stops.
Mm.
There's not no backup. And
Mm.
so we fix that, and we do it in a way that gives people more support. It de-stresses and de-burdens that practice. It stabilizes the practice. I'll just share briefly, we had a practice we took over just 30 days ago, and in its 75-year history, it had its highest collection number by over $35,000. It
Wow.
grew in collections over 35,000 in 30 days within our operations. And I know it sounds bizarre. You're
It's amazing.
probably doubtful if you're listening, but that's what happened. So another practice just had its best month ever. Our personal practice had its best month ever. So when you look at these things, it's like 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2. It's 1 + 1 equals 10. And there's this compounding effect. There's this exponential effect that happens when you bring people together. So like our tagline is stronger together. There's a
Mm.
reason why we say that. We are stronger together. So it brings a community, Larry. That's what it brings, a community of people together. And so if you've been in practice for 15, 20 plus years, you may feel isolated. You may feel like, man, I kind of get together with my people once or twice a year when I go to a conference, but those people aren't on your team.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference when people are actually on your team, when we're
Mm-hmm.
communicating regularly, when we're
Sure.
we're spitballing ideas, when we can share x-rays, when we can share information. I mean, we have a clinical side where we
Mm.
actually have a private group where we share clinical information. So patients benefit. The
Mm-hmm.
patients are not getting one set of eyes or two set of eyes. They're getting 10 sets of eyes to evaluate that. I mean, just imagine. So we're elevating the quality. We're getting clinical companies wanting to join us and get behind us to drive innovation because they have this subset of people, of doctors, that they can all say, okay, we know what they're doing, and we can gather data and build research and actually get real meaningful information out to the public. So there's
Love it.
so many levels to what
Mm-hmm.
we're doing and how exciting it is. But getting back to the question, yeah, so those people were able to bring a community around you. We're able to stabilize the business. We're able to give you a backup. By the way, if something were to happen, you were to die, your family's made whole. So we give support. So we've got all these amazing aspects that come along with this. There's so many benefits that are behind this model.
It's
Going
truly a
back to
care
this
model. It's
doctor,
a care model.
it's a care model. It's
Yeah.
absolutely a care model. Going back to the new practitioner, yeah, it really disturbs us that chiropractic is losing quality providers to very low level. I don't really want to throw it out, but I'll say so. So the joint is literally pulling out people just because they can provide a salary that kind of
Mm.
extracts people into it. But that's never going to be the thing that's really fulfilling and justifying to people. Chiropractors don't go to chiropractic school going, I hope I just work for the joint. That doesn't happen,
Mm.
right? And so we want to actually be able to attract the highest quality talent and put them in not only to match but to beat the salaries that are being supplied by these personal injury mills and by the joint, and put
Mm.
them in real chiropractic setting where they can
Mm.
be fulfilled as a chiropractor, where there's an ascension plan, where we can take them from being a doctor that is being trained and is getting regular, consistent clinical training, practice management training, compassion training, core
Mm.
values, meeting rhythms, systems, acquisitions, retention. They can get all of that training and then up level to a clinic director or up level into a partnership. So we have an
Mm.
ascension model where people can go through these different stages and get apprenticeship, which has been around for thousands of years, but all of a sudden has become out of popularity. It's not in vogue because people
Mm.
go, oh no, I see on TikTok I can open up my clinic and throw my shingle and throw some Facebook ads up and be super successful. Larry, I'm telling you right now, look at how many practices are selling all their equipment. Look at how many
Yeah.
go on these websites. People they're just dumping stuff because they
Sad.
got it over their head.
Yeah.
They didn't have the training. They thought it was going to be easy. They were given bad information. The schools, their ego, the schools say, no, go do it. You're
Mm,
trained. We are here at this organization can teach you everything you need to know about running a successful
mhm.
practice. Being told that by people who didn't do that in practice.
Sure.
And so the problem is that they're given bad information. They go out, they get way over their head. They're already $300,000 in debt. They don't
Mm,
have the training, they don't have the apprenticeship, they don't have the humility to say, let me go and learn from somebody who's actually done it. And then they end up in a really bad situation. Guess what? Then they come and reach out to us and they go, hey, is there a spot for us? And we say, yes, let's talk about it.
mhm.
So the reason we want to have this organization is we want to attract that talent, have a position for them, and put them in a place to be successful. Give them the training that they require, support them, nurture them, up level them, give them the skills, both in communication and in clinical excellence, so that they can deliver the goods. It's one thing to talk about it, it's nothing to deliver the goods. And this is why they need to be in offices like yours. This is
Mhm.
why they need you, right? They
Mhm.
need your 20 plus years of experience to say, this is how you serve people at a high level. Yeah, it's about caring, it's about compassion, it's about having the right words, but in the end, you have to deliver the goods. So
Yeah.
they need all of it.
What I
And
love
then they have to
about
have
your
systems to deliver people, and they have to have acquisition and retention and all the systems. And that's really where we're able to bring a business in a box. It's kind of what we it's just like business in a box. Like, here it
mm,
is. Here's your clinical training. Here's your mentorship, your apprenticeship. When you put all those pieces together, success is inevitable.
love that. And what an amazing opportunity. Could you imagine if you or I had this opportunity 25 years ago? You know, but you're casting a huge vision. And that's what leaders do. They cast visions that are bigger than people can see for themselves. And what I love about your model is you're taking care of the people that have been out a long time and the doctors that are just coming out and everybody in between. There's care infused everywhere. The patients are getting care, the staff is getting care, the doctors are getting care, the new grads are getting care everywhere in your organization. And that's why I wanted to interview you first because you do it at such a high level. And I know it's going to all happen. And it's probably going to happen faster than you think it's going to happen because the word's going to get out. And what I love about this is it's going to elevate, again, the public perception of chiropractic because the brand is going to be strong, real strong, high quality, high ethics, high care. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. So we're gonna end with a lightning round of questions. Are you ready to go?
I think I'm ready. I'm
You're
not sure
always
I'm
ready,
ready,
man.
but
You're
let's go.
fired
I'm
up.
always ready.
All right, this is gonna be fun. Ready?
Let's go.
One word to describe your care philosophy.
Compassion.
A book, podcast, or person that's influenced how you care for people.
Larry Arbeitman.
Beautiful. Favorite part of your day with patients?
Adjusting.
Adjusting. One thing you wish every patient knew about you.
Mm, love.
Love. Finish the sentence. Care is
Everything.
everything. Love it. This was awesome. You are awesome. I know that anybody that sits down and listens to this podcast just had their mind and their heart blown open. And if they want to get more information about Serve Bigger Collective, we're obviously going to have all your links in the show notes. And Dr. Brown, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for sharing all your time, talent, and energy with our listeners.
I'm so grateful for the time. This was so fun.
So much fun.
This
We're going
is
to do it again,
great.
right?
I appreciate you so much. That I'm thrilled to be a listener and hear what you're gonna be doing and who you're gonna interview. And so this was an awesome opportunity. You are the retention king. And retention is just a reflection of your relationship, right? And so the way that you communicate, the way you connect, the way that you share your heart and your passion for people is admirable. And so, yeah, stay tuned. I'm excited.
Yeah. The best is yet to come. See you soon, Doc.
Thank you.